So let's say I am going to a networking event. There's going to be a lot of business owners there. What are some questions that you would want to know, especially if potentially you are just getting into business?
So it's a great question to ask me of what questions you would ask a business owner, because I suppose the first thing I would wanting to do is I'd be wanting at networking events to try and find business owners that are in the same industry as me, that I aspire to be in a few years' time. I always want to try and make certain I can upskill myself. So if I can find that person, I would be asking them, the first thing I'd be asking them is not how well have you done and whatever. It's like, what's your main failures that you've done? I want to know the failures that they've done, not what's worked well for them, but what didn't work well. Because I could be running into those failures now. I could literally be going down that path and running into a brick wall that they could say, if I could tell my 16-year-old self this, it would have saved me so much time and so much money. Because I'm all about hacking time. Like money, I don't mind failing on money, but when I fail and I've spent a year doing something wrong, and that time, that's what does me. So the first question I'll be asking a business owner would be, tell me some of your failures of what you've done.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think the next question I would probably be asking is, obviously I'm more into like the marketing side and getting myself out there. So let's say, for example, if we're both in the SEO space, I would be asking you, like, right, how are you getting your leads? Like, what are you doing? How are you generating business for your own business? Like, that's one thing that's important. But then away from that, I would also be asking other questions like, what numbers are you doing? Obviously, in some cases, they might not want to tell you everything, but if they are fairly open, which, to be honest, a lot of business owners I've met anyway, they typically are. So what's your close rate of your sales team? How much are you generating a lead for? And in the back of my head, the reason why I'm asking that is because I want to try and basically outcompete that person. So if you come back to me and you say, right, I'm generating leads at £500 a lead, my conversion rate's at 33%, so every 1 in 3 leads I'm ending up converting into an actual paying client, I would say, right, brilliant. My goal is to say it's £450 a lead, and my close rate is going to be 40%, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to actually try to reach that goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, knowing the numbers is the most important part of any business. So if a business owner is willing to give you that information, so you start from the top and you're looking at, all right, what's your net profit? Then you work back, what's your gross profit? Then you work back, okay, what's your revenue? And you can start working everything out. And sometimes it could be, like you said, sometimes it could be the opposite, where it could be like they're doing 3 million a year and they're working at 10% margin, and you're like, I ain't being a busy fool. I'm going to do 1 million in revenue and work at 50% margin. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you start speaking to them and they realise some of the things they've done wrong, they've gone too big too quick. And they've got a massive warehouse, they've got lots of staff, and they think, do you know what, it's a headache. I'm having to work 7 days a week. I haven't got no time to see the kids. And I think sometimes from a business owner point of view, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, people just think like sometimes it's better being an intrapreneur as opposed to an entrepreneur. Working inside of a business and not actually being the business owner sometimes is the best thing you can do. The business owner's there taking all the risk. The the one that's there that's not sleeping at night thinking, I don't know if I can pay tax or VAT or staff wages this month. A staff member doesn't ever worry about that. Oh, I don't know if I can pay wages this month. It's not them that's doing it. So I suppose at times as well, it's asking questions to say, what mentors have you had along the way? And what mentors do you have now? Yeah. Because do you know what, right? This is a bit of a pain point of mine. Like, it really annoys me, right? I think you can see from my voice how annoyed that I am, right? But something that annoys me is, you go to nursery and you've got a teacher. You go to school, you've got several different teachers. You've got a maths teacher teaching you maths. You've got a science teacher teaching you science, right? And you've got the experts of whatever teacher is teaching you the subject. Yeah. You play for a football team. You've got a coach. You might have a physio, and you've got a manager. And they're telling you what you're doing wrong and how you need to improve. Sorry, mate, you're too slow. You need to get a bit faster. Go and do some more hill sprints. Listen, you touch your left foot, you need to start passing more with your left foot. Like, they're guiding you of what you're weak at. You get into business, no one wants to coach. No one wants someone like you at the top. If you're the entrepreneur and you're the business owner, who's asking you? Who's making you responsible for your decisions? No one, because you're at the top, and a member of staff's not going to start challenging what you're doing. Or, I mean, if you do, you've got a great member of staff if they're going to do that. So what mentors have you got? A really valuable question. And you don't need just one mentor. Get a few mentors. Like, you won't go to your maths teacher to train you up about science. You won't go to your science teacher to go and do your PE. Do you know what I mean? You have people who are experts in certain fields. So what mentors do you have? And one of the main mentors that would be getting yourself a good business advisor who's going to help you with regards to tax relief, tax savings. That's another part that people don't really talk about enough, is not just about how much money you're making, but once you've then made a lot of money, how can I pay the minimum amount of tax possible legally? Do you know what I mean? So then having a tax specialist who can come and look to say, look, you can save money by doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, by the way, did you know there's a rebate here on tax to do with R&D, tax relief and stuff like that? So a good mentor and a good business advisor is definitely a question I'd be asking a successful business owner.
Yeah, I think you touched on a few points there, but the next question I would probably be asking is what their goals are. Like, in some cases, some people have short-term goals. In some cases, they have long-term goals. In other cases, they have both. And I would want to know where they kind of see themselves in 3 or 6 or 12 months' time. I know it's the typical job question whenever you're hiring, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? But when you're asking a business owner, their goals typically aligns with the actual business, and especially like the example that I was saying before, if we're both in SEO space, I can then understand, right, okay, why has he got that goal? Oh, right, because he's converting the leads at this percentage, or he's upping his spend in 3 months' time from, let's say, £5,000 a month to £10,000 a month. So knowing what their goals are is important.
Yeah, I think the other big one that you touched upon, leads, but we need to expand on this a little bit more, because, like, when you speak to a business owner, they'll know, a successful business owner will know the lifeblood of any successful business is a consistent flow of quality inquiries, right? So you touched upon how you're generating the leads. But my next big question would be from that. So my question to the business owner would be, what's your lead magnet, right? What's the thing that gets them in to get them to purchase something, right? What tripwire marketing or scarcity marketing are you putting in place to get them from not just how many leads are you generating, but get them to purchase something, to get them in? Or it could be the lead magnet that gets them within an email funnel, or they're subscribing to you to the YouTube so you can warm up on there, or they're following you on Twitter. And then you're then nurturing those leads along the way to become a cold lead to a paying customer. In my opinion, no one is a customer until they're bought from you 5 times. That's kind of what I always have. I'm in the business, of MRR. I want monthly recurring revenue. That's where I'm at. So I want to try someone initially, maybe a tripwire marketing, $1 for the first month if I'm doing a monthly subscription, right? $1. If they can't pay $1, I don't want them as a client, right? But they do them for the $1. They see I want to bombard them with like lots and lots of quality, and they're like, okay, this is amazing. They're going to start renewing at full price month number 2, month number 4 or 5, and now starting to make profit on that client. So what's their lead magnet and how they're nurturing the leads? And there's lots of probably other questions literally to do. We could do a whole video on what you ask your lead generation companies and stuff like that. So like, but in general, like what is it that makes them the initial customer to get them on board?
Yeah, definitely. I think the next question I would probably ask would be, what's the actual end goal with the business? Because in some cases, especially in the SEO space, people actually build up an SEO agency and then they end up selling it. And I would want to know why they like, if say for example they do want to sell that business in 2 or 3 years' time. What's the thought process behind that? Is it because they think that it's a dying industry? Do they potentially see like a shoulder niche which is like a little bit more profitable and they want to get into that space? So that would be another question as well.
I think the next question I'll be asking a business owner is, how many staff do you have? What employees? Like, what does your infrastructure look like? How many middle managers do you have in place? Do you have all in-house staff in the office? Do you have people that work remotely from home? Do you have virtual assistants abroad? Like, what does your staffing look like? How many staff do you have? And then the next question I'd be asking the business owner would be to do with wages. How much are you paying your middle managers? How much are you paying the people on the ground, the technicians doing the work? Why are you outsourcing to the Philippines? Why are you outsourcing to South Africa? Why are you outsourcing to Bangladesh? Wherever they're getting the virtual assistants from, they're all different things. What's the makeup of the business? How does that look? And then do I want to make it look that way? Or do I want to go, I want less staff than that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the next question that would probably be the follow up to that is like SOPs. Like what have you got as an SOP? Have you got any SOPs?
Yeah.
Typically speaking, if a company is outsourcing to all of like Philippines and Vietnam and stuff like that, they will probably have some form of SOPs in place. And then also, how are you keeping the staff accountable? So, for example, especially like with the bigger companies, as soon as you start scaling, that accountability sometimes drops. And for like, how are you keeping the staff accountable? Let's say, for example, if you're a web design agency and your past 2 clients, they've complained because the website's not been more well responsive. Who's accountable for that? Is it the person in-house in your actual staff, or is it potentially like an outsourced VA that you've outsourced the work to? So I think that's the next question I would be asking.
Yeah, another question I'd ask a business owner, and this is the tricky one, and I'll probably do this after I've got to know them a little bit more, probably in the bar with them, they've had a few drinks, and I look at them straight in the eye and I'd say to them, are you happy?
Yeah.
Because, like, what is success? Is it how much money you've got in the bank, or is it, are you happy? And for me, success forms part of happiness. And they might turn around and go, do you know what, mate? I'm working 7 days a week. I've missed my kids growing up. No, I'm not very happy. And then you start to go, actually, I was aspiring to be like him because he's got a really successful business. But now he's telling me he's really unhappy. So the way he set things up isn't good. And then from that, then I'll be like, why are you not happy? This is if he's saying he's not happy. Why are you not happy? And it might be he's working too hard. Okay, I need to understand how to delegate tasks more, which way you spoke about SOPs. So how many SOPs could I improve on my SOPs? And could I hire from the founder? Could I hire a CEO, a CFO, a CTO, a CMO? Do you know what I mean? So like, I've got someone, a CTO dealing with my technical. I've got a CMO dealing with marketing. I've got a CEO who's running whole of business. I've got a CFO that's dealing with my finances. That's all like further down the line. That's big corporate type businesses. Mm-hmm. But can I start working on the business, not in the business? I don't want to be wrapped up in day-to-day problems with customers. I don't want that in my life. Yeah. So a big question would be up to do with happiness. Mm-hmm. And a follow-on from that is that if he says, yeah, I'm really happy, I'll be like, right, great. I maybe do aspire to be him, because not only has he got a successful business, he's got time to see, he's a good parent, or like he's got time to see friends, he goes out partying, he goes out having a good time, he goes on many holidays. So he's got this being able to step back and have fun and enjoy the journey. The other question I would ask is whether he's happy or unhappy is, are the staff happy? How long have the staff been with you? Right? Because what's difficult, right, a lot of the time with SEO, right, being a good example, the SEO is quite simple. Content, links, topical authority, good quality technical work. And if you're not ranking, you might need better content or more topical authority or more backlinks. Yep. That bit's pretty simple. Implementing it with staff who then care about the business, and they're not rushing, oh, it's 3:30 on a Friday, going, I'll just quickly get AI to write this piece of article, right? Who actually care about what they're doing in the output. Are the staff happy, right? And if they're not, what have they done to make, or if they are, what have they done to make them happy? Have they got like what I call as being a cultural architect? Who's dealing with the culture within the business? How are you maintaining the staff to be happy? Pretty much all staff want pay rises, and they want pay rises probably once every 6 months. Just naturally, just always want pay rises. Sometimes, 99% of the time, they don't deserve it, right? A good business owner will give them a pay rise when they deserve it, right? And sometimes the output of what you're getting, it's just like, sorry, you don't deserve all these pay rises, as well as bonuses, as well as this. So how can you keep their expectation that the employees are still happy and they feel they're part of the team and stuff like that? And I think happiness is another big part of asking from a question point of view to a business owner.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any other questions that you'd be asking?
I think we've touched upon everything there. I think generally what happens is when you start asking questions to a business owner, it just starts to flow. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the profitability, you're talking about the happiness, you're talking about the staff. You then start to ask questions like, well, why have you got so many staff? Why are you not outsourcing to the Philippines? I didn't even know what a VA meant. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then you start talking about VAs more. You can then start digging into it a little bit more. It could be when you're talking about the leads, right? We've not really spoke about what different types of marketing you can do. So underneath the CMO bracket, all right, not just how many leads you're generating, how are you generating those leads? Is it SEO? Mm-hmm. How does your SEO look? But you're spending all your money on PPC and you're not spending anything on SEO. Oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. Get us up your site. You don't do any internal linking. Yeah. You're spending all this money on digital PR. You're not doing any internal linking. You've not even got your address and your phone number. There's no EAT signals. There's lots of things that you could dig deeper in depending on how the topic of conversation goes. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, we could sit there all day on what type of leads are being generated, or within technical, like, you could look at certain things and why are you using that CMS system? What, you've gone and got a web development company to build you a bespoke system. Well, what happens if they fall under a bus tomorrow? You've got a single point of failure. You shouldn't build anything with a single point of failure. So I think the questions to a business owner just start to flow. I think you've gone through and touched upon majority of the questions you'd ask, and then after that, things just start to progress from there. Yeah, definitely. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video on what questions to ask a business owner. Let us know if we feel, or if you feel we have missed any actual questions.